to another episode of WIM Speaks Radio. I am your host, DP Jeter. This show is produced by the number one global sisterhood, that is Women in Media, better known as WIM Global. And each week we are here on excitementradio.com bringing you another inspiring and entertaining episode for women in media. Here at WIM Speaks Radio, we encourage you to own your voice and make a difference in the world. We provide informative topics about media, entertainment, and business, womanhood, and how women are affected by it. So again, we have more guests coming onto our show today for another exciting episode. I always love to bring on women CEOs because especially women who have something to say to women in media. And so who's our audience? They are women who work in media, entertainment, business. That is us. I would like to introduce to you the Black women millennial owners of real estate brokerage, Harris Hawkins Co. Tiffany Harris and Brandi Hawkins, these ladies are making history in Baltimore, providing a space that offers growth and education for other Black real estate agents. Their goal is to accommodate women, especially Black women, to run their potential large businesses without struggling to figure out specific challenges they have mastered themselves. Once the Harris Hawkins Co team opened its doors back in July, they've been able to assist first-time home buyers, repeat buyers, and investors to find the perfect property and ensure the staging of the houses they have sold are perfect. Brandi and Tiffany are only getting started as they plan to expand the company to more areas later this year. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you so much for having us.
It is a pleasure to have you. I'm so excited that we are connected and that you can come on and talk to us all about wealth building through real estate because that topic is really important. Anything around wealth building and being able to change our mindsets and building legacies for families is, I think, extremely important for women. And I see with your company, you agree with that as well. Awesome. So how are you feeling today? How was your day?
Today was a day in real estate, and if you are in real estate, you feel us.
What does that mean? I'm not in real estate, and we have some people who might be, but a large majority of our audience are women who work in media entertainment. So, give us a walk into your world.
It is a day full of unexpected events. As much as you try to plan your day, and little thing can happen that can, take the day in a different direction. Because in any real estate transaction, there are so many different moving parts, as well as so many different parties to the transaction that you cannot control. So with that, if one person misses something or there's a hiccup in one part of a real estate transaction, it can completely throw, the day off. For instance, a settlement today that
Okay.
was supposed to happen about a week ago. Yeah, it ended up happening. I'm finishing up maybe like 15 minutes ago. So I'm like rubbing up the stuff to get up here.
And y'all made it.
Yes, she is home and we are here, and that is it.
I understand. I definitely do understand how your day, you try to plan your day out and then something just adds itself onto your calendar and you have to readjust yourself. And so us women in media can certainly relate to that, especially when there's something that just kind of happens in the news. And out of nowhere, you just have to rework your programming because now we have to cover this main event that's going on that might be global, that might be affecting all of us, right? So we get that for sure. So because you ladies are on the same screen, I would love for you to introduce yourselves so our audience knows who's Tiffany and who's Brandi.
I'm Tiffany Harris. And I'm Brandi Hawkins.
Awesome. So both of you, please tell us your story and tell us about your real estate brokerage firm.
So I guess individually, I mean, we're connected at the hip at this point, but we're still individuals. So I actually got into real estate. I got my real estate license. I was a stay-at-home mom. And I literally woke up one morning just like, I got to get out of here. I need to speak to an adult. So I decided, I've always been an entrepreneur. I just didn't really know which way to go with it. And I decided to do some research, got my real estate license, and I just decided to really give it everything. And so I sit today. So I do have a background in property management, and I've owned a boutique, just other businesses, but I'm definitely in the right seat now.
And when did you get your real estate license?
2016.
Okay. Okay. Awesome.
So I've been licensed in Maryland for almost 8 years, a licensed real estate agent, and I've been licensed in DC for 2 years. Prior to getting into real estate, I was in property management as well. And for probably about the first 4 years of my real estate career, I was dual career and was still working in property management. And my last job was in asset management for a housing authority. So I made the transition in 2018 to go full-time in real estate, and I met Brandi shortly after that. And we decided to, partner to originally create a real estate team, which was under another brokerage. So how it works in real estate is that once you obtain your license, you have to hang your license somewhere until you become, or someone becomes a broker. There can only be one broker. So the goal was.
So who's the broker?
I'm the broker.
You're the broker. Okay. Is that like another set of license and tests you have to go through?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So
awesome.
As a real estate licensee, you're under a broker, and then there is 135 hours that you have to complete to be able to sit for your broker's exam.
That's awesome.
And it was 6 long months of every Friday in this class that I had to take for the licensing. And then I was able to, sit for the exam. But we met at a brokerage that we were at and kind of was feeling the same way about, taking our careers to the next level. We ended up at another brokerage together prior to starting our team. And everything just kind of fell, in place. The goal was always for me to obtain my broker's license for my individual goals, even prior to meeting Brandi. Wasn't sure at the time what I was going to do before meeting Brandi, but once we met, everything kind of just meshed. It worked out. We started, recruiting for our team, and we ran the team like a small brokerage so that the transition once we started our brokerage would be easier. We could work on policies and procedures and systems and figure out what we liked, what we didn't like, what we wanted to bring along with us.
And our vision just happened to align, and we knew that we wanted to give agents something that we didn't have. And we always say we want to be the owner and the broker and the real estate agent to these realtors that we never had. We want to be this to someone because we didn't get that experience. So we had the same vision with what we wanted to offer our agents, and just made it come to life.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit more about your company and what makes you special and different.
Yeah. So it's definitely special that it is a woman-owned business. Yes, it is a Black-owned business. And I think that what a lot of people, I guess, you know how you hear from people like, I wanted to support this Black-owned business, but the experience. And
yeah,
so
it's all, yeah.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because people tend to run to write a review, for Black-owned companies when something happens. But we wanted to run this business like a large corporation. And I always tell our
I love
agents,
that.
You got to run this business regardless of if it's you and one other person or just you in a corner in a basement with a laptop. You need to run this like it is a large corporation. I always tell them, you are Nordstrom, you are Saks, you are Gucci.
Yes.
Run it like that. So from the very beginning, Our marketing, for example, is one thing that has helped us stand out.
Yeah, your marketing is fire. Like y'all's picture. I love the website. I love the photos. I love the pitch that I got. I loved everything about it. I was like, oh yeah, let's confirm. Let's talk to these ladies. I love that.
It's just really important, for us to present ourselves in a manner that you're not hiring us because we're Black, or you're hiring us because of our skill set, because of what we've mastered, and because of the business reputation that we've been able to build. So that, but also the education piece. Tiffany, I always say she has a teacher's heart. She has a heart for teaching. She creates most of the training. When I say most, like 99.99999% of it. I do like 0.1% of it, but she creates the training, and she's just really, really big. We're really big on training, but that is where.
Yeah, I would say for the, some other things that, I know that we stand apart from other brokerages, one being the education piece. And
okay.
Majorly important for our agents to be knowledgeable, to be, well-versed in this industry. Purchasing real estate is probably one of the biggest investments that anybody, or biggest purchase that anybody will make. And we're also big on the client experience from start to finish. Whether you're purchasing a $90,000 property or a $900,000 property, you will still get that red carpet treatment from start to finish, and even after your transaction. We tell, people all the time that every person that we've sold a house to in all the years that we've been licensed, we still probably talk to, can call and ask us questions, because it's very much a relationship business. We are big on the relationship. We've both built a good portion of our career off of referrals, off of people that are referring family constantly, because we're continuously in contact with them through holidays and, having new children and kids graduating and things of that nature. So it's the client experience, and definitely the knowledge and the support of our agents, the true support, and not just support from a standpoint of just getting you through a transaction, but also helping you reach your individual goals. Not everybody gets into real estate for the same reason. So for someone we want to be the person that hones in on how can we get you to reach your goals, because they may be different from the 5 other agents or 10 other agents that we have. And the support piece, because real estate is very much what's supposed to be an individual industry. You're on your own, you're an independent contractor, 100% commission. But it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
We built Harris Hawkins Co on collaboration over competition. And
I love that. That really connected to me and spoke to me, because that is a part of what we do here at Women in Media Global too. So, big ups to y'all. Y'all the GOATs in real estate for that. Because I've never even heard anybody talk like that. Yeah. Like to create something where it's inclusive of other agents, and that we are growing and succeeding together.
And finally, just to kind of piggyback, just that client experience, no matter what price point you're at, like Tiff said, it could be $10,000, it could be $10 million. You're going to walk through the door, you're going to have that experience regardless of your financial picture or situation. We do not play about a great client experience. It is required.
So walk us through that red carpet client service experience you have. I think that by you explaining that, it could help a lot of other CEOs who are listening in.
Yes. So the first thing, we do have a client concierge that we have at the front desk. So not just an admin, not just a receptionist. She's here to provide from the time that you walk in the door that we were expecting you. So you're going to walk in with your name on our TV screen.
Okay.
That you're here. Then once you are seated in the conference room with refreshments and things, of course, we're going to go through the process from start to finish, walking you through viewing homes while you're here, making sure that you obtain all the knowledge that meets what your needs are in purchasing a property, connecting you with our preferred partners as it relates to lenders, mortgage lenders, title companies, home inspectors, everyone that you would need through the process. So assisting you with those resources and not leaving you out to have to find them yourself. I would say it's kind of the beginning of the process as it relates to red carpet. And then as you get through the process of searching for homes, one thing that has really proven to be successful for us at that buyer's consultation, which is something that we do with buyers, you can't just call and say, hey, I'm at 123 Main Street. Can you take me to see it? Like, nah, we need to know you, your situation, and who you are, and if this is going to work out. She always calls our first meeting with the buyer or seller a first date. We're here to decide if we want to.
Right.
So, when we have that consultation, one question we ask is, are there any other decision makers in this process?
Okay.
That's going to mean if mom, Lottie Dottie, and everybody are contributing their opinions to this process, we need them to be at the table. So we literally sit down with moms and dads, and we're not here to
the husbands and the wives and the grandmoms.
And taking them out for the showings. That's an experience. We do a lot of social media marketing. So some clients, we obviously get their permission. A lot of them are very excited to be on social media. We just document their process.
Okay.
And that we share at the very end of the transaction, which is closing. So, and then just the follow through of just staying in touch forever and ever and ever. They call us for everything.
That's awesome. Yeah, repeat business is important. Like when you have customers who you've built relationships with and they can come back to you and then they refer to you, that's how you grow, So that's very awesome to hear. So both of you ladies, this next question, being in real estate. Now, is this your passion? Like, is this like more of your calling, or do you think this is a career move?
It's kind of everything. Mm-hmm. So to be honest, you have to be passionate about real estate to keep going. We've had an incredibly challenging couple weeks. And the reason we keep getting up and doing it is, one, for each other. We kind of view this like a marriage.
Yeah, I would say so.
Nobody on the planet of Earth has ever heard me say anything negative, except for my husband. I might say she get on my nerves today. But, I'm going to cover her regardless of how I feel.
Come on.
And vice versa. That's just a non-negotiable. It is what it is. So we can be irritated with each other, and then it's just like, you want to go get crabs?
And I think it's definitely passion. I would say, like Brandi said, all of those things, but I think passion is at the top, especially when we're in this stage of building a brokerage, because it's such a selfless act, because you are literally pouring into people to help them grow, pouring into people so that they are able to feed their families, pour into people so that they are able to better themselves and build their careers. And sometimes that takes setting aside maybe the things that we were focused on. Every decision that we make at this point as it relates to what we're going to do for the business next, we have to consider each and every agent that's here. We have to consider them and their needs as it relates to the, marketing that we do, the technology that we bring on, the trainings that we do, keeping our ear, to the streets and to the industry to make sure that we're up on local legislation. And yes. I sit on a number of committees for that reason, to make sure that my agents have a voice, that we have a voice in the industry as well. So I would say passion is first as well, because this is very much an industry where you have to keep going, even where you may not see the money coming, because there are deals that fall apart at the table. There are, deals that are delayed. So it's really something where you have to still be able to give 100% and support your clients, even when that compensation may not be lining up with the work that you've done. This is not a business that you get into for money. It's very much a business, just like anything else, and you want to be compensated for the work that you do. But if you do right by people, the money will come every time.
Relationships build, what do I say? Relationships build income? No, that's not what you say. It's a cuter one. It's cuter. Like relationships. I'll tell you later.
We'll come back to it whenever it drops in. Just
dropping my spirit.
Yeah, when it drops in your spirit, because it sounds like it's gonna be good. So it sounds like a great deal of you moving forward and being successful in real estate is that you have to activate your faith, and that is a word that activate your faith, activate your power has been very huge themes in my life. So tell us, how do you activate your faith to keep going? The deal might fell apart at the table, and you got to activate your faith at, that day.
Yeah. So, we, like she said, we're 100% commission. We don't get paid when we start our cars, when we drive 10 miles, when you late, don't show up. None of that happens. So, I don't say that I have to step out on faith, because regardless of the situation, I'm focused on the promise. I'm not focused on the process. I know it's a process to get where you need to go, but I'm focused on, I'm not saying I don't have little breakdown moments. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But I'm in a moment and I get back to the task at hand. which is my why. And my why is,
you have to remember your why. In those moments where it seems like nothing is working and everything every day is something, you have to remember why you got into the business, why we started this brokerage, why we get up every day. And I know for both of us, it is our children. It's building something that was not built for us from our parents. It's
Come on.
giving opportunities that were not afforded to us. My goal is my son will be 18 next March. Is to
You do not have an 18-year-old.
I do.
Okay, girl.
He'll be 18 next March. He just turned 17.
Okay, Mom, I see you.
But my goal is to, for his 18th birthday, purchase him a multi-unit that he never has to rent from someone else and immediately, begin to have residual income. So just really creating, if I knew what I knew what I knew at 18 about real estate, I'd be a millionaire.
Wow.
So affording those, just different opportunities that we weren't given. And I know that takes me getting up every day and putting my best foot forward and continuing to push forward even when the tough times come, even when I don't feel like it.
Right. Wow. I love that goal that you have for your son at 18 years old, buying him a multi-family unit as a, generational wealth, like legacy building, like piece. That's awesome. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that. And when I hear you ladies talk about just doing things so that we are moving the generations forward and that you are building a legacy for your family so they don't have to start from the bottom, like I resonate with that so much. So tell us more about can we get wealthy and rich in real estate? Should we get our license and jump in? How should we build our wealth? How should we build our wealth through real estate? No license or license. Tell us.
Yeah, it looks different for everyone. The truth is, to put it nicely, everyone is not built for this. It is a beast. It's not something that everyone's going to be great at. One of the things, like Tiffany said, you don't get into this for money. Obviously you want to be compensated, and this is what we do for a living. This is our livelihood, but you can't come into real estate in a deficit. You can't come in because you need money. Are you going to do what it takes to get up every morning and hustle? Are you a self-starter? Are you organized? I wasn't the most organized I'm still probably not the most organized. She's the most organized out of the two of us. But it really depends on you. Are you getting your license? Getting your license, is it going to make sense? Is it going to pay for itself and then some? What do you think?
I would say not everyone, to create the generational wealth, you don't necessarily need to have your license.
Okay, yeah, that's we need to know that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you don't necessarily need your license. You need a great real estate agent like us.
Okay.
What you need first is someone who is going to sit down with you and discuss the different avenues of obtaining generational wealth or obtaining wealth through real estate, because it does not look the same for everyone. You may have someone that is an investor where they want to flip homes. They want to buy low, renovate, and then sell higher. And they want to move on to the next project. You have some investors from a standpoint that want to build a rental portfolio, and they want to have that residual income. Some people don't want to be landlords and have to deal with that. So it's really coming down to what type of person you are, what you're willing to deal with, and how we can create that investment that works best for you. So it doesn't look the same for everyone. For instance, Brandi and her husband purchased properties. They would live in them. They would fix them up and then sell them and then move on to somewhere else. And that was how they did it. Me, I have rental properties. I'm just now working on my first flip, but that was my thing because I came from a property management background. So it was much easier to do that piece because I knew the ins and outs of leasing homes and leasing apartments. But it could even be the perspective of being a property manager, opening a property management company. So there's so many different routes that you could take. And this is a conversation that we recently had that I brought back to Tiff that I had with my dad, just about our culture, just every generation having to start over. You know how other cultures, I went to school in Pikesville, which is a very diverse area, but the people in that community, most of them were very wealthy,
kids, when they graduated, they were getting a drop top Benz in a car. I mean, in a house, and it was paid.
Wow.
That was common. So for her to, her son is on her credit cards. He's an authorized user. He's 17 years old. I think he's been since 16.
Since he was 15.
15. So those are the things that I used to hear people talk about, but I wasn't onto it. And then seeing it here, my son is 4. I have a younger family, but so we're in different places in life right now. But to hear things like that, this is breaking that generational curse of poverty and that curse of having to start over with every generation. I think I am the first in my family that is not going to have to start over. And it's very important that my son does not have to, and the same for her.
Yeah, my future family, I'm not a mom yet, but when that happens for me, I certainly do not want my family and children to have to start from the bottom. Like, absolutely not,
Not an option.
So can you tell us maybe like 2 pros and cons for each of those scenarios? You talked about flipping, you talked about property management, and also having rental properties. Like, what is like maybe 2 pros and cons for each scenario?
Well, we've done both personally. So I'll say, I'll touch on rental. So I have a property now that we have tenants in. They are amazing, like amazing. But on the other end, or on the other hand, you could have tenants that don't pay their rent. You could have tenants that are really maximizing off of this COVID situation where they don't have to pay, so they think. So you could fall behind on your mortgage if you have a mortgage on your property, which means that you're in default on your bills. So that's a perspective. But then also you could have tenants that are treat your property well, take care of it like it's their own. But then on the other end, you could have tenants that tear your house up. And I think a myth is that Section 8 tenants or worse, or tear your property up. A lot of people right now, truthfully, are looking to be Section 8 approved because that money is guaranteed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's because you have a particular financial situation, it doesn't mean that you won't care for the home any less. So those are my 2 perspectives.
Yeah, I would say probably similar. The pro to being a landlord and having rental properties or rental portfolio or multi-units is that residual income, that building, that consistent income that's going to come as long as you have that unit occupied. The cons are just having to manage that. You have to manage that. You have to make sure that everything is within the law. You have to ensure that, the condition of the property and maintenance of the property, because that is still ultimately your responsibility. It could get a little costly. There are options to put a property manager in place, even as a landlord, and not have to deal with certain aspects of it, but then that's going to cost you. So you're not getting the full amount every month because you have to pay the property manager. I would say that's the biggest thing in turnover because there's costs associated with turnover. Every time that someone moves out and someone moves in, you have to get the unit ready for that next person. And that comes, depending on what the damage is, that comes along with cost. For flipping homes, I think the pro is obviously making the return on your investment. What are you going to get out of it compared to what you put into it? One of the cons is the unknowns. Once you get into a renovation project, once you start opening up walls, once you start looking at plumbing that could not be seen on the surface, it's staying within that budget and your profit could slowly be decreasing. And really, we can never predict what the real estate market is going to do. So depending on how long a flip project may take, you may miss a margin. There are a lot of things, within the market that are going to control what you can get for that property. Because with a flip, it's all going to be dependent upon what the buyer sees your house is worth compared to the market. So while on paper, you may have seen that your return on your investment is going to be this amount, or you were going to net from this particular flip project, maybe $60,000. But if the property doesn't sell at that mark, your profit margin may get smaller and smaller.
And then also we have, and we've had this experience where you may meet with someone that wants to sell their house in January. They may take 3 months to get the house ready. So by the time that 3rd month comes around, the numbers that you were showing them, like Tiff said, have changed. That comparable, that house that we were comparing, that comparable has now expired. So we can't even use that anymore. So now we have to go with whatever the market is saying your home is worth. And that's truly happened.
So who determines the value and cost of homes? Is that something to do with the banks?
So kind of. So when we go out to, or even working with the buyer, we do what's called pulling the comps, comparables. So before we write an offer or before we list a seller's, an owner's home for sale, we determine what the value is based upon, I always give this example. This is 123 Main Street. I always say 123 Main Street. So this is 123 Main Street. So we're going to search within 1 mile of 123 Main Street and what has sold within the last 6 months of 123 Main Street to determine what the value is. And it's based upon if these other comparable properties were updated, how many bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage. And then once we get under contract, all of that jazz, an appraiser comes out. And the appraiser's job is to determine the value of the property. So the appraiser's most likely going to pull very similar comps that I pulled, that she pulled, and he's going to use those to determine the value of the property. So, it depends on if it's updated, all that stuff.
And essentially it comes down to the value in, any market is going to be what people are willing to pay for it. I can be a seller who lists my house and I know that I want $300,000. But if the appraiser says that it's worth less than that and buyers are only willing to pay $275,000, that then becomes the value of my property.
Got it. All right. So listen, I hope y'all have your pens and pencils. You recording this. Somehow you are taking down information and notes because Tiffany, Brandi, they are giving us strong Black girl magic vibes, and I'm learning a lot. So I hope that you are taking advantage of this amazing opportunity as we learn about wealth building through real estate right here on WIM Speaks Radio. So now I want to get into just another segment just about business advice for CEOs. So we have an array of business owners who tune into our show weekly, and with your knowledge, I know that you can help them too. So talking about how does your firm help and support other women to advance, grow, and launch a career in real estate?
Yeah, so it kind of goes back to that original why. We got into this, we built this, and we call this place kind of like our safe place. So it's a place where women like us, and not just women, we have one guy here, poor thing. We have one guy here, bless his heart, who, so it's a place where when you walk into the door, if you look cute that day, even if you don't, we hyping you up. It's
that's awesome.
No, for real, where did you get those shit? You look great in your athletic wear today. But even down to you walking into the door and you're excited because you got a $1.5 million listing. Nobody's gonna question how. Nobody in a negative way. We're going to say, oh my God, tell us more about that. We're excited, but we're not going to question how. We're not going to wonder where you got that from or if you're deserving of that. We're going to hype you up. We're going to be excited. We're going to say, let us know what you need. We're here to support. So this is a safe place for people like us. And that goes back to both of our whys as to why the Harris Hawkins Co is even in existence.
And I think just from a level of an empowerment, whatever it looks like for that individual, and getting to know our agents, that you're not just a number, that we are empowering you for whatever that is, empowering you to be an individual. While you are affiliated with Harris Hawkins Co, you are still an individual real estate agent. To empower them to brand themselves, empower them to be confident in what they do know. There is a joke whenever they call us and have a question that we're not just going to give you the answer because we know deep down, and it comes from a place of fear of being incorrect. So we're going to say, what do you think? Empower you to answer the question, empower you to find the answer with our support, but to empower you to be exactly who you are. This is very much, also a business where there's a, perception that you're supposed to dress a certain way and look a certain way, and that equates to your knowledge. So we empower our agents to, if today you're showing houses in ripped jeans and a pair of sneakers and you're Harris Hawkins Co sweatshirt, that's okay, because that doesn't mean that you know anything less than the agent who shows up in the 3-piece
Y'all
suit.
changing the game out here.
It also goes into that client experience, because if you're meeting, there is a difference in lifestyle when it comes to $105,000 house and an $805,000 house. There's a different lifestyle. So we don't want to show up Gucci down to the socks, red bottom down, and a G63,
right?
And our Gucci sunglasses. Like, I'm here to show you this $100,000 house. It's very important that you meet your client where they are.
Yes.
At that price point, we are excited, because this is a major generational wealth, curse-breaking accomplishment that's taking place. But we're not going to show up and make you feel like, your budget isn't going to work for us, or, so if it's that you're meeting your client and you have on a sweatsuit and they're fine with that, that's fine. Some people don't want to see you in a 3-piece suit, and you got to know how to adapt and pivot.
Wow, I love that. So how many real estate agents do you have currently?
We recruited 5 more this week, so we are at 23.
Congratulations. And y'all opened up in July?
Yes.
In the midst of a pandemic.
Y'all doing that. Y'all out here doing that. I mean, when I got your information from your PR agency and I began to research you, and then I just saw just the social media presence and everything, I don't know, it just spoke to me. Like, the vibe just came through the email. I was like, oh, yes, because we get a lot of inquiries of people who want to be on the show. But it's just, we love having the guests on the show, but it's a vibe, it's a vibe that we want to put out there. And I just felt that I love the agency that y'all work with. So congratulations on that. And then I love the website, and I saw y'all pay. I was like, yes. And so it's awesome. This is the first time that we actually have real estate agents and a brokerage firm on the show. So this is really brand new and great information for our audience. So thank you again.
Thank you
for having us.
Very excited.
Dope. So how does one differentiate themselves in business? I know you talked about encouraging your real estate agents to have their own brands and to do their thing. So how does that advice, play into the real estate business?
One thing we start with is figuring out your value proposition.
Your unique
value proposition. Determining what sets you apart from the other 50,000 agents that are licensed in the state of Maryland. That's a real number.
There are more real estate agents in the state of Maryland than there are homes for sale. that is an actual fact.
Right. So really determining what that unique value proposition is for them. And that is, it can be different. What does your career look like? What experience do you want to give your clients, individually? And what does your brand look like? What do you want people to see when you're putting yourself out on social media platforms, presenting yourselves on postcards that you're sending out? What do you want them to see, and really have them define what their brand is?
And what problem do you solve? There are 1 million of us, but it's only it's only one Tiffany and one Brandi. It's 1 million real estate agents, but I hate to sound overly confident, but if you walk into the door at a listing appointment, you want to sell your house, and you see us coming behind you, you better know it's a wrap and it belongs to us. Because we know what we know, and we know real estate. We can adapt, again, we can pivot. The education piece, the being able to relate to the clients, and just being a real person will take you a lot further than being super salesy. I hate that salesy sort of, tactic.
Right.
So those things are, that question is something that we start with in our agents. We have with our agents, we have a marketing and branding boot camp. And that's one question. What do you want your social media presence to say to potential clients? And then we ask them, would you hire you based upon your social footprint? Mm-hmm. So a lot of them start off saying no, and then they get to that yes eventually.
Wow, that's powerful. I love that. So what are the advantages of being in business or starting a business with a partner versus being a solopreneur? Because
So-
y'all are in a very blessed situation, let me say.
Absolutely.
You know, not everybody has a like-minded person that they can start a business with. And, you know, being a solopreneur, when I started my first company at 19, I just know how it goes. So, like, just let me just take a peek into your world.
So, like I said, I have a very young family, and she's in a different place in life. So, I don't want to miss bath time every night. I don't want to miss putting my son in bed every night. Her son could care less if she's home or not at this point. You know what I mean?
He probably doesn't want me there anyway. So
He's like, move out.
Right. He's grown now.
Right. But that balance is really something special, because if there is an evening training, which most of our trainings are in the evening, you know, I'll stick around for some, but there's never any guilt. She never puts me in a position to feel bad about not being there. She gets it. So I also recently had surgery. I was out for 4.5 weeks. Not a beat was missed. My clients got the same experience. It's that person that I don't have to question. I don't have to ask. I don't have to check behind. I know that it's going to be done the way that it should be done and the way that we do things.
Yeah, I think the you know, everything, you know, that Brandi said, but having your person, but also having someone that can take on things that maybe you're not the best at and can master those. So we always say, I stay in my lane, she stay in her lane, and it works. You cannot do everything.
We learned the hard way.
Right. So it's having the other person that Brandi handles all of our marketing, all of our branding, everything that you see from logo to building our website to building our app. She did all of that. We did not have to outsource. She did all of that.
Oh, she like actually created it. Like you like built the site.
Yes, because I like things a certain way.
Wow.
For it to not be excellent.
And
So
that's not my
wow, I'm impressed.
But education and, you know, doing the trainings and things, those are things that I love. The business aspect, she knows that, you know, the IRS is not coming to knock on our door, nor are our business licenses not in order. So it's that also having the benefit of having someone that you trust, because while you can hire someone to do all of these additional things, one, it's going to cost you, and two, you have to oversee those a little bit more. So I know that if she says she's going to do something, or we plan to do something, she's going to take care of her end, and I'm going to take care of mine. You know, we're in the process of opening up our second location. So we both know that this is kind of what I'm handling on this end, right, and then she's handling signage and, you know, getting
right,
things together for that as it relates to the marketing and branding and things of that nature.
And there's never a check back. Like, did you do? It's done, because that trust is there. And then also, it's major.
Come on. Y'all doing it. Y'all doing it.
For us to be able to share money, we have credit cards together. My family depends on her family, and her family depends on my family. So if I don't do well, she doesn't do well. So it's a benefit, obviously, for us to work and to collaborate over competing. So
and we can do more together.
Yeah,
we can cover more territory. We can do so much more together. Even when we were, you know, just agents before opening the brokerage, we would do listing appointments together and help sellers together. You know, what's better than showing up to a seller's house and say, you get two agents, two sets of marketing, two sets of, you know, just really putting a voice out there behind selling your property for the price of one. So it even has helped then, and even more now in building the business, because that foundation was set then, and determining strengths and weaknesses and allowing the other party to really focus on their strengths, and then be able to pick up on the other end.
And that's how any partnership goes, right? You both are wives, and it kind of works that way at home, right? You know your strengths, you know what your partner is great at, and you big them up in that area, and then you support them in the area where they could use the support. I love that. So really, I can't wait to see y'all, like all of us meet up on the Forbes for women list, the Forbes business. I can't wait to like meet y'all on that list, like, because y'all going, like, have y'all been in like Essence and Forbes and Black Enterprise and all that?
Listen, our PR team is serious. So literally, I don't know. Okay?
I can't wait to see y'all on that Forbes party, okay?
But we are working our way on up.
I'm feeling it through a screen, you know. You are inspiring me and giving me, you know, food and for my soul. So y'all keep doing that. So can I humor y'all for like a few seconds? Y'all know how to play rock, paper, scissors, shoot?
Yes.
Okay. right. I want y'all to rock, paper, scissors, shoot for the next segment. We have 15 minutes left. So I have 2 more segments. So the winner will pick the next segment and where the interview will go.
Okay.
All right. Y'all ready?
Hold on. Okay. All right. Okay. Let me put my camera on so I have proof that I won. Okay. Are you ready? Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. You cheated. All right, you won. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ah! You are too excited.
All right, sis. So, okay, you can choose from how-to advice. So this how-to advice is more about the real estate industry, first-time home buyers, and then womanhood.
Let's roll with womanhood.
Womanhood. Okay, cool. Let's do it. All right. So what is the best business advice you can give to a mompreneur and or wife in business?
I would say ask for help.
Ask for help.
Ask for help. Know that you can't do everything. That's aside from business, you can't do everything at home. But I think having those conversations, if there is a spouse or someone in the home that can help, or hire somebody to help you. Hire someone to do the things that you don't have time for, if that's going to create time to have with your family above even the business. Not even just to hire someone to clean or do laundry or a nanny or something for the purpose of being able to do more business, but there's time that you can't get back with your children. There's time that you can't get back with your spouse, even as it comes to relationship with friends. I think a lot of times we get into go mode and it's like, I'm working. And I've been guilty of it, that nothing else matters. And then you miss, just priceless things with friends, family, spouses, because you just want everybody to understand. Now, don't get me wrong, there are times or seasons that you have, and when you're building something that you have to be laser focused. Right. But you also have to assess where you're needed and how to not spread yourself too thin, because you can't pour from an empty cup. But you have to, we can't do everything, and you will lose more time by being down from being sick or drained or exhausted for not asking for help. Or seeking the help that you need.
That's good.
And I would say, give yourself some grace, because we as women, I remember seeing this comic strip about a dad says, I'm sleepy, I'm going to bed. A husband says, I'm sleepy, I'm going to bed. He literally goes up the steps and go to sleep. We say we're sleepy, we're going to bed. We stop by the kitchen, make sure the stove's off, make sure the locks are locked. You go to the bathroom, you might pee, you might look at your skin a little bit, you go kiss the baby, make sure he's still breathing, you make sure the dog didn't poop. It's so many things that we do, and we wear so many hats. But like she said, we cannot do everything. So give yourself some grace on maybe the last 8 things you didn't get to on your to-do list, and just transfer them into the next day. Give yourself a break, because you cannot do everything or you will die.
I know that's right. You just move it on to the next day.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Yep, get your rest.
I get to it, right. I do enjoy rest. I do go to bed around
9. Well, we got an hour and 10 minutes. Get you to bed. So talking about legacy, talk more about that legacy that you want to leave behind. I know you talked about your family and your children, but is it something that, you want to leave behind maybe for the community and the culture at large?
Yeah. One, we had to sit down the other day with it. I always have a story. We had to sit down the other day with another future real estate broker, and we just kind of talked about business and legacy and all of those things. This business, Harris Hawkins Co, is going to go down as something that continues. Now, if my son decides he doesn't want to be a real estate agent, all right, that's fine. But I want him to have some involvement. But this company has to continue to go on for generation after generation after generation. So whether it's our kids, whether it's community, people from the community, whether it's our agents who decide, they want to take over when we're done, we want this to be a staple in the community especially a community of, African Americans. We want our community rather to know that this is something that is attainable. Home ownership is attainable. Generational wealth is attainable. And we plan to do that by continuing to expand, continuing to grow, and, getting into these different neighborhoods and communities and becoming that household go-to for all things real estate.
That's what I was going to say as far as legacy, just a household name. There are many, household names as it relates to currently as it, just longevity of, some brokerages, but not necessarily owned by Black people or Black women at all. So just to be a household name and be able to hold up against those larger companies. And we know that we will, just from the value that we create for our agents and the experience that we give to our clients.
And to kind of touch on that expansion and how that second office is such a monumental move.
So you opened in July, it's less than a year.
Right, but because it doesn't happen for us. It's not something that happens for Black brokerages to expand and to continue to possibly becoming a franchise like the bigger company. So, just having that vision and being able to make that play out, like we literally were like, all right, we're ready to open a second brokerage. This time a second location. This time it's easier. And I'm not saying that we're not stressed because we were probably just crying before, but this time is easier because we have those systems in place and it's not a tryout. It's not a trial. We have these things in place and we offer pretty much I would say even more than a lot of the big brokerages can. So we've taken that big concept that we talked about in the beginning and put it into this, this idea, and we've just made the wheels turn and we are rolling.
Are you opening up in DC?
Hold on. No, actually we're expanding into Baltimore County.
Okay.
Clarkville. So we are going to be looking into DC at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering because I know Tiffany said she got her license. She has a license for Washington too. So yeah, just wondering.
I got my broker's license in DC. I was a licensed salesperson, but I did get my broker's license because a couple of our agents were interested in obtaining their license and not having to hang them with a different brokerage. But we're still, teeter-tottering around.
It has to be perfect.
Yeah. We are big on timing and it feeling right for us. Nobody else's timing but ours. It has been, the talk that we're crazy. It hasn't even been a year, but for us, it's all about timing. It's about the space and everything has to align and feel right.
And literally, like I say we live by everything, but we live by when God says go. You gotta go in that moment. You can't drag your feet. You can't do it tomorrow. Like, go. We are not missing our moment.
And that means that you have to be able to hear his voice and be able to feel his spirit when he tells you to go.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. That is great. So I'm sending you good vibes and blessings and congratulations on behalf of Women in Media Global on your second expansion. You're always welcome to come back and talk about all the great news, especially when Tiffany gives her 18-year-old son that property. That's a story. Make sure y'all run that story. That story will certainly get picked up, in the PR.
Is that renewable? Hello? Areas over here.
For sure. It certainly has been an absolute pleasure to have you. And in our last minute together, please leave us with a piece of advice for that young woman in media on how to just build wealth.
Integrity. No matter, even if no one's watching, do the right thing. And the hard work and the sleepless nights. The baby might be crying. Your husband want to know what's for dinner. He should be making dinner if you take care of the baby. But the integrity and the work and the grit and the grind brings money eventually. So you got to hold tight in that season where it feels like it's not happening fast enough, and just know that your hard work will pay off if you do the right thing and if you do right by people. It's going to pay off.
And I would say, in starting anything that you are passionate about, that in your heart is, destined for you to do it scared, do it broke, do it with, the critics in your ear, do it when nobody else believes that it can be done, but just do it.
Thank you so much. That touched me. Do it scared, do it anyway. Thank you again. This has been an amazing time getting to know your stories, having you here on WIM Speaks Radio. And before we get out of here officially, please let everybody know like your website information and how they can follow you.
Yeah, so our website is www.harrishawkinsandco.com, harrishawkinsandco.com. You can follow us on Instagram at Harris Hawkins & Co. And I can be found on Instagram at the Brandi Hawkins.
And I am at Tiff Harris _ the realtor on Instagram.
Awesome. And I am your host, DP Jeter, holding it down for Women in Media Global. You can follow me on Instagram at DP Jeter _ that is Jeter, just like Derek, Jeter. And please follow Women in Media on Instagram as well. WIM Global, that is WIM Global. This is Women in Media, and we have spoken. See you next time.